What if one of the most powerful men in the world, known for launching rockets and shaking up global industries, suddenly turned his focus inward, literally, to ask a question no one saw coming? Elon Musk had faced critics, doubters, and governments, but tonight, staring at a glowing screen in his SpaceX office well past midnight, he faced something more personal, a strange, lingering discomfort in his gut. It wasn't dramatic. Just, off. Enough to prompt a search that led him down a rabbit hole of digestive health forums, biohacking threads, and one curious phrase that kept popping up: take this for 5 nights and see what comes out in your stool. Musk smirked at the clickbait title, but something about it stuck with him. The more he read, the more curious he became. At 53, he had outpaced, outsmarted, and outworked most of humanity, but inside his own body, the mechanics remained a mystery. And that annoyed him deeply. If we can land rockets on floating platforms in the middle of the ocean, why can't we detect cancer before it starts? Why don't we track what exits the body the same way we obsess over what enters it? That night, he posted on X, his own platform: hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? The tweet wasn't just engagement bait. It was a signal flare, a call to arms. Over the next few hours, tens of thousands responded. Scientists, engineers, fans, cynics. But one message stood out. It came from Dr. Raymond Rowe, a gastrointestinal researcher at Stanford who'd quietly developed a plant-based supplement designed to map microbiome activity and detect inflammation markers using basic at-home samples. Elon DM'd her instantly. Within 48 hours, they were seated together in a secure SpaceX conference room with whiteboards filled with crude drawings of intestines, molecules, and QR-coded test kits. 5 nights, she said, sliding a matte black packet across the table. Take it before bed. Analyze what comes out. If the markers light up, it could indicate everything from stress to early-stage disease. But it's more than that, it's behavioral data too. What you eat, how you sleep, the rhythms of your body. Musk's eyes narrowed. How accurate? 91% sensitivity for key markers, Ray answered. But we've never tried it on someone with your unique physiology. I'm in, Elon replied. No press. No flashy announcements. Just 5 nights. As the sun set that evening, Musk held the first dose in his hand. Small, nearly flavorless. Swallowed in one motion. He kept working as usual that night, overseeing a Starlink deployment and a late-night Tesla firmware update. But as the hours passed, he felt a subtle shift. Not unpleasant, just awareness. By morning, he recorded everything: what he ate, his mood, the results of his first sample. Ray's team, using a neural processor and a custom app, provided a quick readout: elevated cortisol, slightly low bifidobacteria, trace inflammation. Stress, she said on the morning call. You're pushing harder than your system wants. Musk didn't blink. Of course I am. The planet depends on it. Over the next 4 days, the data evolved. His levels began to balance. His sleep became more efficient. His dreams, which he rarely remembered, became vivid, fleeting images of childhood, ex-wives, Martian landscapes. On the 5th night, something strange happened. He woke at 2:47 a.m. sharp, as if summoned. He sat at the edge of his bed, feeling not anxious, but awake in the purest sense. He walked to his mirror and stared at himself, not just the face the world knew, but the inner machine, the one that powered everything. He realized then that this wasn't just a cleanse. It was a confrontation. In the lab, Ray noticed something unusual in the final report. A rare biomarker, barely detectable, but present. It was a precursor to a genetic irregularity that could, left unchecked, turn malignant. Elon, she said the next morning during their debrief, you need to see a specialist. Immediately. He was silent for a full minute. If this wasn't part of your test, I would have never known. Exactly, she replied. This is the point. And just like that, the direction of the project changed. Musk didn't just fund the research, he launched a subsidiary under Neuralink called GutLink, designed to make self-monitoring of digestive health as common as brushing your teeth. The kits would be subsidized, globally distributed, and integrated with AI for real-time feedback. We monitor our cars better than our bodies, he announced in a surprise webcast. That ends now. The internet exploded. Memes. Skeptics. Celebrities posting their own 5-night results. But the science was undeniable. Dozens caught early signs of digestive diseases. Others discovered intolerances or bacterial imbalances they'd struggled with for years. And amidst it all, Musk continued his own protocol, quietly, driven not by fear, but by control. This was his body, his machine, and like all his machines, it would be optimized. Yet, something deeper stirred. During a private walk through the Starbase facility, he turned to Ray and said, "You know what's crazy? I've created rockets, chips, satellites, but this is the first time I've truly felt in tune with myself." She nodded. Because this time, you didn't try to conquer. You listened. And maybe that was the most unexpected result of all, not what came out in his stool, but what came into his awareness. A kind of peace. A recalibration. And in a world racing toward the stars, Elon Musk had found something profound by simply paying attention to what most people flush and forget. But the story was far from over. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Before the experiment, Elon Musk's body was a machine in the background, a tool for moving ideas, a vessel that carried his mind from one battlefield of innovation to the next. But after those 5 nights, something shifted. He started noticing things. Small things. The way caffeine affected his mood when paired with carbs. The way screen time past 10 p.m. made his dreams darker. The connection between his breathing and his gut. He didn't talk about it publicly, not at first. But inside, the data had woken him up in a new way. Not just a curiosity, an obsession. He wanted to know what the human body was really saying beneath all the noise, the distractions, the daily rituals we never question. And that meant turning to someone who'd known his body long before the tech, his mother, May Musk. She was in New York on a modeling gig when he called her. "You ever do stool tests?" he asked, blunt as ever. "What a lovely way to start a call, Elon," she replied, dryly. But she didn't hang up. In fact, she listened, intrigued, as her son explained what he'd been up to. She had always been health conscious, sometimes to a fault. She ate clean, modeled into her 70s, and ran her own nutrition practice before Elon ever built a rocket. But she had never imagined her son, the futurist, turning his focus to the most ancient form of human feedback, our waste. "I want to test the whole family," he said. "You, Kimball, Tosca. Let's map our genes. Track the microbiome. See what runs in our blood. What shows up in our stool. Maybe we've missed something important." May hesitated. "Are you afraid of what you'll find?" "No," he answered. "I'm afraid of not knowing." That's when he knew it wasn't just about optimization anymore, it was about connection. Understanding the patterns not just in his own biology but in the legacy that built him. He sent his private team to coordinate logistics. Within a week, May had completed the 5-night protocol. Her results came back with mild inflammation and a vitamin K absorption issue likely linked to a gene expression Elon shared. He read her results like a launch manifest, calm, clinical, curious. But when Kimball's results arrived, it hit differently. His brother's gut scan showed a genetic anomaly that flagged a high predisposition to early-stage diverticulitis. It wasn't dangerous yet, but if left unchecked, it could escalate. Kimball, ever the optimist, laughed it off. You know me, bro. I eat real food. I'll be fine. But Elon didn't laugh. He made 3 calls that night, one to Ray Monroe, one to a specialist in Zurich, and one to his private chef, ordering a diet overhaul for the entire family. This isn't just data, he told Ray. This is a map. And we've been driving blind. Meanwhile, the outside world was catching on. News outlets began reporting on the Musk protocol. Biohackers replicated the experiment. Late-night talk shows made jokes about billionaires obsessed with poop. But behind the scenes, real lives were changing. A single mom in Kansas caught an early sign of Crohn's disease. A teenager in Mumbai discovered a parasitic infection he'd had for years. A retiree in Sweden reversed a decades-long struggle with IBS. The stories piled up. Each one validated Musk's theory: if you can track what leaves the body, you can predict what's going wrong inside it, sometimes before symptoms even start. Still, not everyone was on board. Critics called it pseudoscience. Some claimed the test was just a fancy way to sell supplements. Others warned about privacy risks, accusing GutLink of harvesting biometric data for future Neuralink experiments. Musk responded the only way he knew how, with transparency. He published the data sets, anonymized, opened the API for peer review, and challenged the medical community to beat him at his own game. If we're wrong, he posted on X, prove it. But if we're right, let's stop pretending this isn't the future. The post went viral, racking up over 200 million views in 48 hours. Universities launched competing studies. Medical journals offered front-page spreads. But for Musk, the headlines didn't matter. What mattered was what he felt. And what he felt now was different. Sharper. Calmer. There was less brain fog, fewer energy crashes. Even his emotions, once a storm of impatience and intensity, had found a strange stillness. One night, walking the dark halls of his Bel Air estate, he looked in the mirror and didn't see the same man who'd started Tesla, or fought for SpaceX, or smoked weed on a podcast just to prove a point. He saw someone quieter. Not weaker, just clearer. He realized then what this whole thing had become: not a tech play, not a media stunt, not even a health campaign. It was a reckoning. A way back to the version of himself he'd lost in the noise. The boy who'd spent hours alone with books. The teenager who'd gotten beat up in school but kept dreaming anyway. The young man who left everything behind in South Africa for a shot at something bigger. The man who once believed saving humanity meant leaving Earth. Now he wasn't so sure. Maybe the answer wasn't out there. Maybe it was in the things we ignore. The cycles we don't track. The waste we flush and forget. He emailed Ray one line: "Let's go global." She didn't ask for clarification. She knew what he meant. Within days, GutLink announced a pilot program across 20 countries. Schools, senior centers, refugee camps. No charge. No ads. Just the kit, the app, and a promise: if you commit to knowing your body, we'll help you understand it. The backlash was immediate. Pharmaceutical lobbyists pushed back. Data watchdogs warned of a health dystopia. But then came the letter. A handwritten note from a 9-year-old girl in Brazil who had taken the 5-night test through her school and discovered a parasite that had been making her sick for years. Her name was Anna. She drew a picture of her intestines and wrote, "Thank you for helping me feel better. Now I can run with my brother." Elon read it alone in his office and didn't speak for almost an hour. He just stared at the drawing. Then he tweeted the picture with one sentence: "This is why." No hype. No links. Just the image. It became the most shared tweet of the year. And somewhere in the middle of all this noise, Musk sat quietly, drinking tea, his phone off, his gut calm. He had taken something small, almost ridiculous, a bathroom joke turned biohack, and turned it into a global shift. But for him, it was never about Stool. It was about truth. And truth, he realized, doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes, it comes in silence, in stillness, in the quiet knowing that you've taken the next right step, even if the world doesn't understand it yet. And for the first time in a long time, that was enough. The launch of the global GutLink pilot sent ripples through every continent. What started as a midnight curiosity for Elon Musk had now become a sweeping medical movement. But with scale came pressure, and with pressure came unexpected cracks, not in the technology, but in the people closest to Elon. At first, the results from around the world were encouraging. Patterns emerged across different regions, revealing links between gut health and chronic fatigue, anxiety, cognitive function, and even childhood behavioral disorders. The data was beautiful in its complexity, a digital portrait of humanity from the inside out. Elon was obsessed. He pored over findings at 3 a.m., cross-referencing stool biomarkers with satellite-based environmental data from Starlink arrays. He began constructing models that predicted health trends in specific cities months before symptoms would statistically manifest. But while the world marveled at the possibilities, Elon's inner circle began to feel the strain. Tosca, his sister, had agreed to the 5-night test reluctantly. She was an artist, a storyteller, not a scientist, and she found the whole thing invasive and overly clinical. Her results came back with elevated cortisol and indicators of mild gut dysbiosis, likely from years of erratic schedules and poor sleep. She called Elon and said, "This doesn't tell me anything I didn't already know. I'm stressed because the world is on fire. Tracking my bowel movements won't fix that." Elon didn't try to convince her. He simply replied, "It might not fix the world. But it gives you one less thing to fear." Their relationship, already distant, grew cooler after that. Even his mother, May, began to voice concerns. She admired Elon's drive, but she worried about his emotional detachment. "You're trying to solve the world by breaking it into parts," she told him during a video call. "But people aren't machines. They don't just follow code." Elon listened, but his eyes were already on a new schematic on the screen. Neuralink integration with GutLink. Real-time digestive and neural activity cross-mapped into a predictive behavioral algorithm. It wasn't about control. It was about prevention. About knowing the future before it arrived. He began drafting the interface, a soft wearable patch that could collect chemical signatures through sweat, combine them with stool data, and offer a holistic picture of internal health. He called it Aura. The prototype was ready in 12 days. It was lightweight, discreet, and surprisingly elegant. Early testers included astronauts at NASA, Olympic athletes, and a handful of terminally ill patients seeking one last shot at understanding their bodies. One of them was a 62-year-old man named Everett, who had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He'd agreed to use Aura as part of an experimental protocol and became one of the most detailed case studies in GutLink history. Through Aura, researchers tracked microshifts in Everett's gut microbiota, correlated with pain flares and mood swings. They discovered a specific bacterial marker that seemed to spike hours before he experienced debilitating fatigue. This led to a change in his medication schedule and, eventually, a significant improvement in his energy levels and appetite. Everett, who'd once been told he had 6 weeks to live, made it to month 8. At a press event, he looked into the camera and said, "This isn't just tech. This is dignity." That word hit Elon harder than he expected. Dignity. In a world obsessed with performance, metrics, optimization, what did it mean to live with dignity? To understand your body not because you wanted to win, but because you wanted to feel alive, whole, seen. And yet, the world wasn't ready to sit still with these thoughts. The storm came fast. A whistleblower from a former biotech partner claimed GutLink's data was being funneled into a black box algorithm used to predict consumer behavior. Privacy advocates erupted. Governments demanded audits. A Senate hearing was scheduled, and Elon was subpoenaed to appear. The hearing was brutal. Senators grilled him on the ethical implications of collecting intimate biological data. One senator asked, "Do you think it's ethical to track people's bowel movements with AI?" Elon didn't flinch. "We already track your clicks, your purchases, your sleep, your face. Your stool is the only thing left that tells the truth without pretending to be something else." The room fell silent. The soundbite went viral. But behind closed doors, the pressure mounted. Investors got nervous. Advisors warned him to slow down. Legal teams scrambled to contain damage. Ray Monroe, who had stood beside him from the start, warned him during a late-night meeting, "You're going to burn this to the ground if you keep charging forward without guardrails." Elon stared at the screen in front of him. A simulation of aura data from a test group in Tokyo showed early detection of metabolic syndrome in nearly 40% of users. 40%. That wasn't a number he could ignore. He turned to Ray and said, "If we stop now, people die who didn't have to." Ray replied, "And if we lose their trust, they'll never come back. Even if we're right." It was the first time Elon genuinely considered pausing the rollout. Not out of fear, but out of strategy. The vision wasn't wrong. But maybe the execution needed to shift. Less data. More human. He greenlit a new division, called Insight, staffed not by engineers but by therapists, nutritionists, and behavioral scientists. Their goal, turn GutLink's raw findings into language people could understand, stories, not stats. Instead of red flags and numbers, users would receive metaphors. Your gut is a weather system. Your stress is a storm front. Your habits are the wind. That soft pivot changed everything. Subscriptions rose. Lawsuits vanished. The media softened. And for the first time, Elon began receiving thank you letters not just from patients, but from doctors. Primary care physicians who'd used GutLink to detect early-stage cancer. Pediatricians who'd helped parents diagnose food sensitivities in toddlers. GPs in rural areas who finally had a diagnostic tool they could afford. But even as the world seemed to settle, something inside Elon stayed restless. One night, standing alone on a SpaceX observation deck watching rockets lift toward the stars, he whispered to himself, "What else have I missed?" Not in the world. In himself. For decades he'd been driven by the big external questions: Mars, energy, transportation, AI. But now, for the first time, the question pointed inward. What was unresolved in him? What had he buried beneath decades of productivity and ambition? He thought of his father. Of the silence between them. Of the childhood memories he never spoke about. He wondered how much of his drive had been a rebellion against fear, fear of becoming someone he hated. And in that quiet moment, watching fire rise against the night sky, he understood that GutLink had never really been about health. Not entirely. It was about honesty. About decoding the messages our bodies had been trying to send us all along. The test wasn't just physical. It was spiritual. It was about facing the truth of what you are, unfiltered, undeniable. And it was only just beginning. The next phase of the journey began not in a high-tech lab or a sleek conference room, but in a small town in Nebraska. Elon Musk, despite his towering influence and vast resources, chose to go there quietly, almost anonymously. He wanted to see firsthand how GutLink affected real people, beyond the data sets and headlines. The town was hardly a blip on any map, mostly farms, a handful of diners, a single health clinic with limited staff. But it was perfect. The pilot program had offered GutLink kits free to every resident willing to try, and the participation rate had been unexpectedly high. Elon arrived on a gray morning, the sky heavy with spring rain, walking through streets that smelled of freshly tilled earth and distant wood smoke. The locals eyed him curiously. After all, what was a man known for rockets and electric cars doing in their town? At the clinic, he met Dr. Linda Evans, a nurse practitioner who had been the backbone of the program here. She was pragmatic, direct, and skeptical of the buzz surrounding Musk but had to admit the data had made a difference. "We caught early cases of colon cancer that would have been missed for years," she said. "People who felt fine, but their gut was screaming." Elon nodded. "It's about listening," he said quietly. They walked through the clinic's modest halls, passing bulletin boards plastered with posters about diet, exercise, and local events. In a small conference room, Elon sat with a group of residents who'd all used the GutLink kit. There was Karen, a schoolteacher who'd discovered a gluten intolerance, Marcus, a farmer who found he'd been battling a parasite for years, and Diane, a grandmother whose early-stage Crohn's disease had been caught thanks to the program. Each told their story in simple, honest terms, their voices steady but their eyes reflecting a deep gratitude. Elon listened without interrupting. It was a rare moment of stillness for him, no presentations, no metrics, no investors. Just people. Afterward, Elon and Dr. Evans visited Karen's home. It was a modest farmhouse with peeling paint and a large garden out back. Karen showed him the gluten-free bread she'd learned to bake and talked about how the test had changed her approach to food. "It's not just about what I eat anymore," she said. "It's about understanding what my body needs, what it can handle." Elon felt a familiar surge, the same drive that had pushed him to create SpaceX or Tesla, but now directed towards something more intimate, more fragile. He realized that the future he was building wasn't just about machines or Mars, but about people's everyday lives. Back at his hotel that night, Elon reviewed the data from the Nebraska pilot. It wasn't perfect. There were errors, false positives, and confusion. Some people struggled to interpret the results. But the benefits outweighed the drawbacks. This was messy, human, and real. The next morning, Elon flew to a summit in San Francisco, where the GutLink team presented new AI algorithms designed to reduce false positives and provide personalized wellness plans. The room was filled with scientists, doctors, and AI specialists. Questions flew fast and sharp, about ethics, privacy, scalability. Ray Monroe stood beside Elon, confident and calm. She had become the project's moral compass, pushing for transparency and accountability. Elon answered questions with his usual mix of blunt honesty and visionary zeal. He acknowledged the risks but insisted the potential rewards were too great to ignore. "We're at a crossroads," he said. "Do we continue hiding from the reality of our bodies? Or do we use technology to bring the hidden into the light? To save lives, to give people control?" The summit ended on a high note, but Elon's mind was elsewhere. He kept thinking about Nebraska, the faces of those who trusted GutLink not because of a brand or a billionaire, but because they needed hope. That night, he called Kimball. "We're expanding the pilot to 10 more states," he said. "And I want you to help lead the community outreach." Kimball hesitated. He'd been reluctant to get involved at first, but Elon's passion was infectious. "All right," he said. "But this isn't just about data. It's about people." Meanwhile, in the background, the technology kept evolving. GutLink's AI began integrating with Neuralink's neural interface research, aiming to create a future where brain signals and gut data communicated seamlessly. The vision was radical, a digital body map accessible through thought alone, enabling preemptive healthcare. But such ambition came with controversy. Privacy advocates warned of a surveillance nightmare. Ethical debates erupted over data ownership and consent. Governments debated regulation. Elon, ever the disruptor, remained undeterred. He hosted a virtual town hall, inviting critics and supporters alike to ask questions live. The session was tense, raw, sometimes hostile. Elon fielded accusations of overreach and dystopian control. But he also heard stories of lives saved, of new hope. At the end, he said, "Innovation always challenges comfort zones. But if we can't dare to know ourselves better, what's the point?" Months passed. The pilot program grew. New stories emerged, like Jacob, a high school athlete whose mysterious fatigue was traced to a rare gut infection, or Maria, a refugee who'd suffered digestive issues for years without diagnosis. Each story deepened Elon's conviction that health was not a luxury, but a right. One evening, during a quiet moment in his home office, Elon reflected on the journey so far. The highs, the lows, the breakthroughs, the setbacks. He thought about his early days at PayPal, the sleepless nights at Tesla, the countless failures that shaped him. He realized GutLink was different. It wasn't about building a product or a company. It was about creating a movement, a new way for humanity to understand itself. And that realization brought him back to the question he'd asked himself the night he took that first dose. What else had he missed? There was a new urgency now, not just to push technology forward, but to reckon with the human costs of innovation. To bridge the gap between data and empathy. To ensure that progress didn't leave anyone behind. In the silence that followed, Elon made a decision. The next chapter of GutLink wouldn't just be about technology. It would be about healing. About listening to the stories behind the data. About honoring the messy, beautiful complexity of being human. Because if there was one thing he'd learned, it was this: no matter how far we reach into the stars, the greatest journey is the one inward. And it all began with a simple question: and what comes out in your stool? The next morning dawned heavy with expectation. Elon woke early, as always, the mind already racing through the possibilities of the day. The world was watching, and the next big unveiling was scheduled at the annual Global Health Innovation Conference in Chicago. This was where GutLink would step beyond a pilot project and into the mainstream. The venue was a vast, glass-walled convention center overlooking Lake Michigan, buzzing with reporters, scientists, investors, and curious onlookers. Elon arrived quietly, accompanied by Ray Monroe and the core GutLink team. They had refined Aura, the wearable patch, into something sleeker, more comfortable, a real fusion of biotech and wearable tech that could continuously monitor gut chemistry, relay data wirelessly, and even predict flare-ups before symptoms appeared. Elon's opening remarks set the tone. He asked the crowd a question: what if you could understand your body's secret language? Not in years, not months, but in real time. The question hung in the air like a challenge. Then, with the precision of a seasoned presenter, he walked the audience through the journey, from that initial 5-night experiment to the data flooding in from thousands of users worldwide. Screens around the room displayed swirling, colorful representations of gut bacteria, immune markers, and neural responses. A live demo showcased Aura's ability to detect an impending inflammatory episode in a volunteer on stage, who was given a custom intervention immediately. The audience gasped as the volunteer's vital signs stabilized. But beneath the spectacle was something deeper. The story wasn't just about technology, it was about hope, about reclaiming control over an invisible aspect of health that so many suffered from silently. Ray took the stage next, shifting gears from data to human impact. She shared letters and videos from patients who'd been diagnosed early, or who'd changed their lives after learning how stress, diet, and environment shaped their gut health. Tears welled in the eyes of some attendees. The science was powerful, but the human stories were what truly moved them. After the formal presentations, Elon retreated backstage, where a wave of reporters and analysts waited. Questions came fast, about privacy, data security, the risks of overdiagnosis, and the potential for inequality if such technology was only accessible to the wealthy. Elon was frank: this is not about luxury. This is about democratizing health. About giving everyone a chance to listen to their body, not just the privileged few. He emphasized that the data was encrypted, anonymized, and that users controlled what they shared. But the controversy didn't end. A well-known privacy advocate, who'd been vocal in the previous Senate hearing, challenged Elon during a live-streamed Q&A, accusing the project of biological surveillance. Elon responded calmly: I respect that fear. But hiding from truth has never solved the problem. We must find ways to innovate responsibly, transparently, ethically. The dialogue was tense but honest, the kind of exchange that sparked wider public discussion. Meanwhile, on the ground, the rollout accelerated. GutLink kits and Aura devices were shipped to communities across the United States, with tailored outreach programs ensuring education and support. Community health workers were trained to help users interpret their data compassionately, breaking down complex microbiome science into relatable stories. In one small town in Kentucky, a local pastor named Samuel Thompson began incorporating GutLink insights into his wellness ministry. "Health isn't just the body," he said to his congregation. "It's the soul, the spirit, the gut too." He became a passionate advocate, organizing group sessions where people shared their GutLink journeys, challenges, breakthroughs, and hopes. Those gatherings grew into support networks that transcended traditional healthcare. Meanwhile, Elon found himself wrestling with an unexpected challenge: his own vulnerabilities. Months of relentless work, public scrutiny, and personal reflection were taking their toll. One evening, alone in his office, he reviewed his own Aura data. Patterns emerged: a subtle imbalance, early markers of chronic inflammation. He realized that despite all his efforts to decode the human body, he'd neglected to truly listen to his own. The revelation unsettled him. Was the visionary who'd conquered rockets and electric cars now facing the fragility of his own biology? It was a humbling moment. Elon reached out to his team and requested a personalized health plan: diet, meditation, sleep hygiene, grounded in his gut data. It wasn't a sign of weakness but of growth. He was learning that mastery began with acceptance. In the weeks that followed, Elon began publicly sharing his journey. Through social media posts and interviews, he candidly described the challenges of managing stress and inflammation, encouraging others to embrace vulnerability. The response was profound. People resonated with his honesty. It made the science real, accessible, human. At the same time, the scientific community was abuzz. New research papers citing GutLink findings were published in top journals. Studies linked gut health not only to digestion but to mental health, autoimmune conditions, and even longevity. The idea that the gut was a second brain gained mainstream traction. Elon's vision was materializing. Yet, not all was smooth sailing. Some users reported anxiety over constant monitoring, feeling overwhelmed by data. Others struggled with misinformation or false hope. The GutLink team responded by enhancing user interfaces, adding mental health resources, and launching educational campaigns emphasizing that GutLink was a tool, not a diagnosis. Ray spearheaded collaborations with psychologists to create guided programs that helped users interpret their results with empathy and patience. The goal was to transform raw data into wisdom. Behind the scenes, Elon and Ray debated the next frontier. Should GutLink expand globally? How to navigate cultural differences, healthcare systems, and varying levels of technology adoption. The challenges were enormous, but so was the potential impact. Meanwhile, a breakthrough came when Aura was paired with new AI algorithms capable of predicting disease flare-ups weeks in advance. Trials with autoimmune patients showed that early interventions, guided by these predictions, dramatically improved quality of life. Elon knew they were onto something transformative. Yet, amid the advances, Elon remained haunted by a question that had followed him since childhood: could technology ever replace human connection? Could a machine truly understand the nuances of suffering, joy, hope? At a late-night team meeting, he posed this to Ray. She smiled softly. "Tech can guide us, but it's empathy that heals. The future is not data without heart, but data with soul." Elon nodded. That insight reshaped their strategy. GutLink would not only analyze biology but foster community, compassion, and conversation. The movement grew beyond healthcare into art, literature, and storytelling. Artists created works inspired by microbiome data, poets wove gut health into verses, and communities held festivals celebrating the invisible world within. Elon watched this cultural blossoming with quiet awe. The project had become more than a health initiative. It was a revolution in how humanity saw itself, interconnected, fragile, yet resilient. As the year closed, Elon returned to the observation deck at SpaceX headquarters, looking up at the stars. The journey from Stool samples to Seoul had been unexpected, winding, and deeply human. He whispered to the night sky, "We're only beginning to understand what it means to be alive." And with that, he prepared for the next chapter, where science met spirit, and where every challenge was an invitation to listen deeper. The days that followed the conference blurred into a whirlwind of activity, each moment packed with breakthroughs and setbacks. Elon found himself traveling again, this time to Austin, Texas, where a new GutLink community center was opening. The center was designed as more than a clinic, it was a hub for education, support, and connection. As Elon walked through its doors, he was greeted by families, patients, doctors, and volunteers, all buzzing with anticipation. The walls were adorned with colorful murals depicting the journey of the microbiome, tiny creatures dancing in harmony, a metaphor for balance and health. At the center, people could get their GutLink tests done, attend workshops, and participate in group therapy sessions designed to help them cope with the emotional weight of chronic illness. Elon's presence was humbling. He listened to stories of hope and hardship, of people who had once felt isolated but now found community. A teenage boy named Liam shared how the GutLink program had helped him identify a food allergy that had baffled doctors for years. His mother's tears of relief were a powerful reminder that this was not just technology, it was transformation. But the expansion also brought new challenges. Supply chain issues delayed shipments of Aura devices. Misinformation on social media led to confusion and skepticism. Some communities were resistant, distrustful of new medical tech, especially when it came from Silicon Valley. Elon and his team had to pivot quickly, launching outreach campaigns rooted in local partnerships. They recruited trusted community leaders, pastors, teachers, and health workers to bridge the gap. Elon often joined virtual town halls, answering tough questions with honesty and humility. One evening, during a particularly charged session, a woman named Grace shared a story that stuck with him. She spoke of losing her father to colon cancer because he'd ignored symptoms and lacked access to early screening. Grace had enrolled in the GutLink program hoping to prevent others from facing the same fate. Her voice trembled, but her resolve was fierce. Elon felt a surge of responsibility. This was why the work mattered, not the headlines, not the tech, but the lives. Back at headquarters, the team worked tirelessly to improve the technology. Engineers collaborated with behavioral scientists to design alerts that were clear but gentle, avoiding alarm fatigue. The interface was made more intuitive, with tailored recommendations based on lifestyle and preferences. Ray pushed for inclusion of mental health check-ins, recognizing the mind-gut connection's profound impact. Meanwhile, Elon began reflecting more on the ethical dimensions of GutLink. He convened a panel of experts, bioethicists, patient advocates, legal scholars, to develop a framework that prioritized consent, privacy, and equitable access. These discussions were complex and sometimes uncomfortable. Questions about data ownership, commercialization, and unintended consequences surfaced repeatedly. Elon's stance was clear: we can't let fear stall progress, but we must move with care and integrity. One breakthrough came when GutLink data helped uncover a previously unknown link between gut bacteria and early signs of Parkinson's disease. This discovery opened doors to potential early interventions for neurodegenerative disorders. The scientific community was energized, and funding poured in for new studies. Elon's vision of a comprehensive body map that integrated gut, brain, and genetic data felt closer than ever. Yet, amid the excitement, Elon faced personal crossroads. The relentless pace of innovation strained his relationships. Friends and family expressed concern that he was losing himself in the work. Elon wrestled with guilt and exhaustion, realizing that his own health journey was inseparable from GutLink's mission. He sought balance through meditation, long walks in nature, and reconnecting with old friends. This period of introspection deepened his empathy and sharpened his leadership. One afternoon, during a rare break, Elon visited a community garden run by GutLink volunteers. The garden was a vibrant mosaic of vegetables, herbs, and flowers, cultivated to promote gut-friendly nutrition. Children played nearby, learning about the soil and the science behind food. Elon knelt beside a patch of kale, feeling the earth's cool texture. It struck him how everything was connected. The microbes in the soil, the food they grew, the bacteria in human guts. This holistic view reshaped his approach. GutLink wasn't just a device or a test, it was part of a larger ecosystem of health, environment, and culture. As the year progressed, GutLink's impact expanded internationally. Pilot programs launched in Canada, the UK, and parts of Asia. Each region presented unique challenges, language barriers, cultural differences, healthcare infrastructure, but also unique insights that enriched the project. Elon embraced this complexity, learning from diverse communities and adapting technology to fit local needs. Meanwhile, stories of transformation poured in. A nurse in rural India used GutLink data to tailor diets for malnourished children. A refugee camp in Jordan employed the technology to monitor digestive infections. Each story reaffirmed the project's global relevance. Yet, not all news was positive. A cyber attack on a regional data center raised alarms about security vulnerabilities. Elon responded swiftly, doubling down on encryption and multi-layered safeguards. He publicly acknowledged the breach, emphasizing transparency and accountability. "Trust is earned, not given," he said. "We owe it to our users to protect their most intimate data." The incident sparked a broader conversation about digital health security worldwide. Toward the end of the year, Elon announced a collaboration with NASA to explore the role of gut health in long-duration spaceflight. The human microbiome in zero gravity was poorly understood, and GutLink's technology could be pivotal in keeping astronauts healthy on missions to Mars and beyond. The partnership symbolized the convergence of Elon's passions, space and human biology. It was a thrilling prospect. As the chapter closed, Elon stood on the edge of a new frontier, where technology, ethics, humanity, and the cosmos intersected. GutLink was no longer just a startup or a health tool, it had become a movement that challenged how we understood ourselves and our place in the universe. The journey was far from over. Elon's story was a testament to resilience, curiosity, and the enduring power of hope, a reminder that sometimes, the greatest discoveries come from looking inward, starting with something as simple and profound as what comes out in your stool. The dawn broke softly over Silicon Valley, casting a golden hue on the sprawling campuses and high-tech offices that had birthed so many of the world's greatest innovations. Yet inside a modest conference room at Neuralink headquarters, the energy was electric in a different way. Elon sat at the head of a sleek, black table surrounded by his closest collaborators. Today was pivotal, not just for GutLink or Neuralink, but for the future of personalized medicine. The team was about to begin trials on a new interface that combined brain signals with gut microbiome data in real time. The concept was revolutionary. By reading neural patterns alongside digestive biomarkers, the device could predict and prevent flare-ups of chronic illness before symptoms even appeared. The room buzzed with anticipation as engineers, neuroscientists, and microbiologists reviewed the final protocols. Ray Monroe, always the voice of cautious optimism, reminded everyone, "We're on the frontier here. We need to balance ambition with ethics. Our responsibility to patients must be paramount." Elon nodded. "Absolutely. But the potential to change lives is immense. We must push forward." As the trial began, volunteers were fitted with sleek devices, wearable patches and non-invasive neural sensors, while their daily data streamed into secure cloud servers. The system analyzed thousands of variables, gut flora fluctuations, neural signals related to stress and pain, sleep patterns, even environmental factors like air quality. The integration was seamless, but the data was complex. Early results amazed the team. In one case, the system detected subtle neural changes linked to anxiety that corresponded with shifts in gut bacteria, prompting early interventions that averted a severe panic episode. In another, it predicted an impending autoimmune flare, allowing preemptive treatment that kept the patient stable. Elon watched the progress reports with a mix of pride and humility. This was a far cry from the early days of GutLink, when it had been just a simple stool test. Now, the technology was becoming a living map of human health, a constant conversation between body and mind. Outside the lab, the cultural impact was unfolding rapidly. People were beginning to talk openly about their microbiomes and mental health, breaking stigmas that had persisted for decades. Schools introduced microbiome education into their curricula, teaching children about the invisible ecosystems inside them. Social media hashtags like #GutTalk and #MindGutBalance trended globally, with users sharing stories, recipes, and support. But the fusion of brain and gut data also raised new questions. Privacy concerns grew louder as critics warned about the risks of such intimate monitoring. What if employers demanded access? What about insurance companies? Elon engaged directly with these debates, hosting online forums and interviews. He insisted on stringent safeguards and transparent policies. Empowerment requires control, he said. Users must own their data. Meanwhile, the science community delved deeper into the gut-brain axis, uncovering links to conditions as varied as depression, migraines, and Alzheimer's. The implications were staggering. Medicine was shifting from reactive treatment to proactive care. Yet, despite the advances, Elon felt the weight of responsibility. He knew that technology alone couldn't heal. Empathy, human connection, and understanding were essential. During a visit to a mental health clinic in Oakland, he met Maya, a young woman who had struggled with anxiety and digestive disorders for years. Through GutLink and Neuralink integration, Maya's care team tailored a treatment plan that combined nutrition, therapy, and mindfulness. Sitting together in a quiet garden, Elon listened as she described how the technology had given her clarity and hope. "It's like finally understanding the language my body was trying to speak," she said softly. Elon was moved. This was the true promise of his vision, bridging mind and body, technology and heart. But the road ahead was not without obstacles. A backlash emerged from groups skeptical of cyborg medicine, fearing loss of autonomy and humanity. Protests erupted in some cities, calling for moratoriums on neural monitoring. Elon responded by initiating open dialogues with community leaders, ethicists, and activists, seeking to build trust and address fears head-on. His approach was unusual for a tech CEO, vulnerable, transparent, willing to admit uncertainty. It sparked both admiration and criticism. Simultaneously, GutLink faced technical challenges. The neural interface occasionally misread signals, leading to false alerts. Engineers worked overtime to refine algorithms, balancing sensitivity with specificity. The stakes were high, lives depended on accuracy. Throughout, Ray's steady leadership was crucial. She championed a patient-first approach, reminding the team that technology must serve humanity, not the other way around. Meanwhile, the integration of gut and brain data opened new avenues for research. Collaborations with universities flourished, exploring everything from personalized nutrition to behavioral therapies. Elon funded grants aimed at underserved populations, ensuring that breakthroughs wouldn't be confined to privileged groups. This focus on equity became a hallmark of the project. One evening, after a long day, Elon stood on the balcony of his home overlooking the Pacific. The stars shimmered, distant and mysterious. He thought about the journey so far, from a simple experiment with stool samples to this complex symphony of biology and technology. The universe was vast, but the mysteries within the human body were equally profound. He whispered to the night, "This is just the beginning." The next morning brought a surprise. A letter arrived from an elderly woman named Rose, who had been part of the early GutLink pilot. She wrote about how the technology had given her years of quality life she never expected. Her gratitude was heartfelt, a reminder of why the work mattered. Elon shared the letter with his team, a quiet moment of triumph amid the chaos. As trials continued, Elon began contemplating the future, not just of GutLink or Neuralink, but of humanity's relationship with technology and health. He imagined a world where people lived in harmony with their inner ecosystems, empowered by knowledge and compassion. A world where science and spirit coexisted. But he also knew the path would be winding, full of unexpected twists. Challenges would come, but so would breakthroughs. The human story was one of resilience, curiosity, and hope. And through it all, one truth remained clear: sometimes, the smallest things, the microbes inside us, held the greatest power. As the sun set on another day, Elon sat back, ready for whatever came next, knowing that the journey inward was the most important voyage of all. The momentum built steadily as GutLink expanded into new realms, transforming from a mere health monitoring tool into a catalyst for societal change. Elon found himself at the crossroads of science, policy, and culture, navigating challenges he hadn't anticipated. His next big move was to bring GutLink technology into public schools across California. The goal was ambitious: to integrate gut health education and monitoring into daily student wellness programs, teaching children early about the invisible ecosystem living inside them. This initiative was met with mixed reactions. Parents worried about privacy and data security, while educators debated the ethics of health monitoring in minors. Elon personally visited school boards, classrooms, and parent groups to explain the vision. He emphasized that data would remain confidential, used only to empower families and improve health outcomes. Slowly, the program gained traction, piloting in diverse districts from San Francisco to Fresno. Teachers reported remarkable changes, not just in physical health, but in student engagement and mental well-being. Students became curious about nutrition, mindful of stress, and open about sharing their experiences. A standout story was from a middle school in Oakland where a student named Jasmine discovered through GutLink that her digestive issues were linked to anxiety. With guidance, she learned coping skills that improved her health and school performance. Stories like Jasmine's rippled through communities, inspiring local leaders to support expanded access. Meanwhile, GutLink technology advanced with the development of a new AI-driven app called Microbiome Mentor. This app translated complex gut data into daily tips personalized for users, suggesting recipes, mindfulness exercises, and sleep strategies tailored to their unique microbiomes. Ray led the user experience team, working closely with psychologists and nutritionists to create a holistic, compassionate tool that avoided overwhelming users. The app's success was immediate. Downloads soared, and user feedback highlighted how the personalized approach fostered a sense of agency and hope. Yet, with growth came complexity. Data management became a pressing issue. The volume of information from millions of users created infrastructure challenges. Elon invested heavily in cloud technology upgrades, ensuring speed, security, and scalability. Simultaneously, new regulatory frameworks emerged. Governments around the world grappled with questions about digital health data, ownership, access, and commercialization. Elon testified before congressional committees, advocating for laws that balanced innovation with protection. His testimony was candid, acknowledging risks while emphasizing the transformative potential of GutLink. "We stand at the threshold of a new era in healthcare," he said. "But it must be built on trust, transparency, and equity." In the midst of this, Elon's personal life found new rhythms. The intense focus on work was tempered by moments of connection with friends and family. He began mentoring young entrepreneurs, sharing lessons learned about resilience and purpose. These relationships grounded him, reminding him of the human dimension behind the technology. Yet, not all news was positive. A significant challenge emerged when a small group of users reported adverse reactions to a recommended dietary change based on their gut profiles. Some experienced gastrointestinal distress or worsening symptoms. The team reacted swiftly, investigating and updating algorithms to flag potential contraindications. Elon personally apologized in a public statement, reinforcing the commitment to safety and continuous improvement. The incident underscored the complexity of microbiome science and the need for humility. Around this time, GutLink partnered with a major food company to launch a line of personalized nutrition products aligned with microbiome research. The collaboration sparked debate. Advocates praised the move as a way to bring science-based nutrition to the masses. Critics warned of commercialization risks and potential conflicts of interest. Elon navigated the discourse carefully, emphasizing transparency and rigorous quality control. He insisted that user data would never be sold or exploited. The partnership also enabled funding for community health programs, expanding access in underserved areas. Meanwhile, research uncovered exciting new findings. Studies showed that gut microbiomes could influence athletic performance, mood stability, and even creativity. Athletes began using GutLink insights to optimize training and recovery. Artists and writers explored the connections between gut health and inspiration. The narrative around the microbiome expanded beyond medicine into culture and lifestyle. At the same time, Elon remained keenly aware of the broader implications of his work. During a conference keynote, he spoke about the intersection of technology and humanity. Our greatest challenges, climate change, inequality, health, require not just innovation but empathy. We must remember that behind every data point is a person, a story, a life. This philosophy became the guiding principle for GutLink's next phase, fostering global communities of support and shared learning. Online platforms were created where users could exchange experiences, recipes, and encouragement. Local meetups sprang up, often led by volunteers who had found new purpose through the program. In rural Appalachia, for example, a group of women formed a gut health circle, combining traditional remedies with GutLink insights. Their story was featured in a documentary that reached millions, highlighting the blend of science and culture. Meanwhile, Elon continued to explore the scientific frontier. The Neuralink GutLink interface was enhanced with machine learning algorithms that could detect subtle emotional cues and recommend personalized interventions. Trials showed promise in managing chronic pain and depression, conditions notoriously difficult to treat. The work attracted interest from mental health advocates and policymakers, signaling a potential paradigm shift. Despite these advances, Elon never lost sight of the simplest truth: healing begins with listening. Whether it was the voice of a young student, a concerned parent, or a data pattern in a lab, every signal mattered. This ethos resonated in the growing team, inspiring innovation rooted in compassion. As the year drew to a close, Elon reflected on the incredible journey, from a casual experiment tracking stool samples over 5 nights to a global movement reshaping health and humanity. The path had been far from linear, filled with triumphs and trials, doubts and breakthroughs. But through it all, one constant remained: the power of curiosity and hope. Sometimes, Elon mused during an interview, the smallest insights can lead to the greatest revolutions. Who would have thought that what comes out in your stool could unlock so much about who you are, and who we might become? The story was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The winter chill settled over Silicon Valley, but inside the GutLink Innovation Lab, the atmosphere was warm with creativity and urgency. Elon and his team had reached a crucial stage, preparing for the release of GutLink 2.0, the next-generation device that promised deeper insights and greater user autonomy. This new model integrated a refined AI system capable of not just monitoring, but predicting microbiome shifts days before symptoms appeared. Elon was acutely aware of the stakes. The first version had changed lives, but with scale came scrutiny. GutLink 2.0 had to be flawless. Early mornings were filled with testing, simulations, and user feedback sessions. The device's new features included a seamless interface with smart home technology. Users could receive gentle reminders through their speakers or watches, encouraging hydration, mindfulness breaks, or dietary adjustments tailored to their current microbiome state. Ray and the engineering team wrestled with the challenge of making notifications helpful without being intrusive. "We want the device to feel like a friend, not a nag," Ray said during a design review. Elon agreed, adding, "It's about respect and partnership with the user's body." Amid this high-tech hustle, Elon carved out time for what he called field days, visiting real users, hearing their stories firsthand. One such visit took him to a small town in Montana, where a farming community had adopted GutLink as part of a wellness initiative. There, he met Helen, a rancher who credited GutLink with helping her manage her irritable bowel syndrome in a way nothing else had. Helen's weathered hands and steady gaze reflected years of hard work and resilience. "It's not just the data," she told Elon, "it's the feeling that someone's paying attention. That my struggles matter." Stories like Helen's grounded Elon's vision. Technology wasn't just code and sensors, it was empathy made tangible. Back at headquarters, the launch date loomed. The team coordinated with marketing, compliance, and customer support to ensure a smooth rollout. Elon personally crafted a keynote presentation, blending science, personal anecdotes, and a call to collective action. On launch day, GutLink 2.0 went live worldwide. Social media exploded with unboxing videos, testimonials, and excited discussions. News outlets hailed it as a breakthrough in personalized health. However, amid the fanfare, a new challenge emerged. A privacy advocacy group raised concerns about the device's constant data collection and potential misuse. The media amplified the debate, sparking widespread conversations about consent and digital surveillance. Elon responded swiftly with transparency. He held a live Q&A, explaining how GutLink 2.0 used end-to-end encryption, allowed users full control over their data, and never shared information without explicit permission. "Trust is a two-way street," he said. "We're building a partnership with our users, not a surveillance system." The honesty resonated with many, but the discourse remained polarized. Elon understood that navigating this landscape required humility and open dialogue. Meanwhile, the science behind GutLink 2.0 yielded remarkable discoveries. In collaboration with universities, the team identified specific microbiome patterns linked to autoimmune flare-ups, enabling preemptive interventions that reduced hospitalizations by significant margins. This data not only saved lives but also reduced healthcare costs, catching the attention of insurers and policymakers. On a personal level, Elon's relationship with Ray deepened. Their shared passion and complementary skills forged a powerful alliance, both professionally and personally. They spent evenings discussing not just technology, but philosophy, ethics, and the future of humanity. Elon felt, perhaps for the first time, a profound sense of partnership and belonging. Yet, the pressure was relentless. Rumors surfaced about competitors developing rival microbiome devices, some promising cheaper but less accurate alternatives. Elon and his team doubled down on innovation, emphasizing quality and user experience. "It's not a race to the bottom," Elon said in a strategy meeting. "It's about creating lasting value." Outside the tech bubble, the public discourse evolved. Health insurance companies began piloting GutLink data integration for personalized premiums and wellness incentives. This raised ethical questions about fairness and discrimination. Elon advocated fiercely for regulations that prevented misuse and protected vulnerable populations. His advocacy earned both respect and pushback. One evening, during a televised debate on digital health ethics, Elon faced a tough opponent, a legal scholar who warned about the slippery slope of biometric data commodification. Elon listened carefully, then replied, "Innovation is never without risk, but halting progress out of fear does more harm than good. Our task is to build safeguards, not barriers." The exchange was widely covered, sparking broader awareness. As GutLink 2.0 settled into the market, Elon turned his attention to an emerging frontier, integrating microbiome data with environmental health. He had long believed that human health was inseparable from the planet's well-being. Collaborations began with environmental scientists to study how air pollution, soil quality, and water sources influenced gut microbiomes. The findings were startling. Urban areas with poor air quality showed higher rates of dysbiosis, imbalanced gut flora linked to chronic disease. This data fueled advocacy for cleaner cities and sustainable policies. Elon championed these causes publicly, aligning GutLink with broader movements for planetary health. At the same time, the project inspired new forms of art and storytelling. A multimedia exhibition titled Microcosms showcased visualizations of individual microbiomes alongside personal narratives, bridging science and humanity. Elon attended the opening, moved by the creativity and vulnerability on display. It was a testament to how far the journey had come, from sterile labs to emotional connections. Despite all the progress, Elon remained vigilant. He knew that technology could never replace the human touch. He encouraged GutLink teams to prioritize empathy in customer support and community engagement. Training programs emphasized listening and kindness alongside technical skills. One day, Elon received a message from a user named Carlos, a veteran struggling with PTSD and digestive issues. Carlos described how GutLink 2.0 helped him understand his triggers and manage symptoms, restoring hope. Elon responded personally, promising to support veterans programs and deepen the project's commitment to mental health. This interaction sparked a new initiative to collaborate with military hospitals and veteran organizations. As spring approached, Elon reflected on the path ahead. The microbiome was a new frontier, full of mystery and promise. GutLink was not just a product, it was a movement toward understanding, connection, and healing. The journey was ongoing, filled with complexity and challenge, but also with light. And through it all, Elon carried a simple truth: sometimes, the answers we seek lie not in the stars, but within ourselves, revealed by something as unassuming as what comes out in your stool. The summer sun burned brightly over Silicon Valley as Elon Musk stood on stage at the Global Health Innovation Summit, ready to unveil the latest advancement in the GutLink project. Years of tireless work, late nights, and countless iterations had led to this moment: a real-time gut microbiome scanner capable of providing instant insights without any need for stool samples. The device was small and sleek, worn discreetly on the wrist or clipped to clothing, continuously sampling data through sweat and skin analysis. The crowd buzzed with anticipation as Elon began to speak. What if you could know what's happening inside your body at every moment, and make choices that prevent illness before it starts? Today, we step into that future. Demonstrations showed how the scanner detected early signs of inflammation, nutrient imbalances, and microbial shifts that often preceded illness by days or weeks. This breakthrough promised to revolutionize preventive healthcare, moving from reactive treatment to proactive wellness. Yet, with great power came great responsibility. Elon was keenly aware of the ethical implications. The ability to access such intimate data in real time could be misused if not carefully guarded. Questions flooded in from journalists and privacy advocates alike, probing about data security, user consent, and potential psychological effects of constant monitoring. Elon responded candidly: "We've built this system with privacy and empowerment at its core. Users own their data and control every aspect of what is shared and when. Our goal is to give people freedom, not surveillance." After the keynote, Elon visited a community health center in Oakland where the real-world impact of GutLink technology was evident. He met with patients who had been using early versions of the scanner and app. One woman named Tasha shared how the device had helped her catch a digestive infection early, avoiding hospitalization. Another patient, Marcus, credited GutLink with uncovering food sensitivities that had plagued him for years. These stories fueled Elon's determination to ensure accessibility. He announced plans to subsidize devices for low-income populations, aiming to reduce health disparities. The integration of GutLink with mental health support also advanced significantly. Using biometric and microbiome data, the system could detect signs of depression or anxiety early, offering timely interventions through guided meditation, cognitive behavioral exercises, or professional referrals. Clinical trials showed promising results, with participants reporting improved mood and quality of life. In parallel, the scientific community delved deeper into the gut-brain axis. New studies link specific gut bacteria strains to neurotransmitter production, influencing everything from sleep quality to motivation. Elon funded cross-disciplinary teams to explore these connections, fostering innovation at the intersection of microbiology, neuroscience, and psychology. Back at Neuralink, efforts continue to enhance the interface between brain signals and gut health data. The goal was to create a seamless feedback loop allowing users to understand how their mental state affected digestion and vice versa. This holistic approach reflected Elon's belief that true health required integration of mind and body, technology and empathy. Despite these successes, the journey was far from smooth. A coordinated cyber attack targeted GutLink's servers, attempting to breach user data. The incident was quickly contained thanks to advanced security protocols, but it served as a sobering reminder of vulnerabilities inherent in digital health. Elon publicly addressed the breach, reassuring users of the company's commitment to protection and transparency. The event spurred further investment in cybersecurity and collaborations with government agencies. On a more personal note, Elon found solace in moments away from the spotlight. Weekend hikes with Ray through redwood forests became a cherished ritual, providing space to reflect and recharge. Discussions ranged from technical challenges to philosophical musings on the future of humanity. Elon treasured these connections, recognizing that innovation thrived on balance between work and life. As summer waned, GutLink's global reach expanded. Partnerships with international health organizations brought the technology to developing regions, adapting it for local needs and cultural contexts. Pilot programs in India and Brazil showed early success, with communities embracing the personalized approach to nutrition and mental wellness. These initiatives reinforced Elon's vision of democratizing health technology worldwide. In the background, debates about data ethics continued to evolve. Elon collaborated with ethicists and policymakers to develop frameworks ensuring that advances in microbiome and neural technology respected human dignity and autonomy. These efforts highlighted the complex interplay between innovation, regulation, and society. Through it all, Elon remained grounded in the stories of individual users, people whose lives were transformed by understanding the tiny ecosystems within them. He often recalled a letter from a teacher named Linda, who credited GutLink with helping her manage chronic fatigue and reconnect with her students. "Your technology gave me my life back," she had written. This, Elon knew, was the real impact beyond headlines and metrics. The summer closed with a quiet ceremony in Palo Alto, where Elon and his team celebrated reaching 1 million active users worldwide. The milestone symbolized not just growth, but a collective journey toward a future where health was proactive, personalized, and humane. As the sun set behind the hills, Elon reflected on the path traveled, from a simple experiment to a global movement. The human body, once a mystery locked away, was now an open book filled with insights and hope. And sometimes, the answers to our greatest questions came from the most unexpected places, like what comes out in your stool. The buzz around GutLink had reached new heights, but with success came unforeseen challenges. Elon found himself navigating a complex web of expectations, criticism, and opportunity. One of the most pressing issues was user engagement. Despite millions of downloads, data showed many users abandoned the device or app after initial enthusiasm faded. Elon and the team realized that sustaining long-term behavior change was far harder than launching a product. To tackle this, they brought in behavioral scientists and habit formation experts to redesign the user experience. The new approach focused on gentle nudges, rewarding small wins, and fostering community support. Gamification elements were introduced, turning daily health checks into challenges and celebrations. Ray spearheaded these efforts, emphasizing empathy and motivation over pressure. The results were promising, user retention rates climbed, and stories poured in about real, lasting improvements. At the same time, Elon faced a personal reckoning. A close friend and early GutLink user, Sarah, revealed she had struggled silently with an eating disorder exacerbated by obsessing over microbiome data. This painful revelation shook Elon deeply. He realized that while technology could empower, it could also trigger harm if not handled with care. The team responded by integrating mental health resources directly into the app and launching awareness campaigns about healthy relationships with data. Elon publicly acknowledged the lesson, reinforcing a commitment to responsible innovation. Meanwhile, scientific advances pushed the boundaries of gut link's capabilities. Researchers discovered connections between gut bacteria and immune responses to vaccines. This breakthrough led to collaboration with pharmaceutical companies to tailor vaccine schedules and formulations based on individual microbiomes, potentially improving efficacy. The implications for public health were enormous, especially in combating diseases with variable vaccine responses. Elon was exhilarated by this new frontier but mindful of the ethical questions it raised. The debate over data ownership intensified as insurers and employers expressed interest in accessing microbiome data for risk assessments. Elon stood firm, advocating that health data must remain private and user-controlled. He worked with legislators to draft policies that balanced innovation with individual rights, emphasizing the need for equity and transparency. Meanwhile, GutLink's educational initiatives blossomed. The company partnered with schools, community centers, and online platforms to provide accessible information about gut health, nutrition, and wellness. Interactive workshops, webinars, and storytelling sessions engaged diverse audiences, demystifying complex science and encouraging curiosity. Elon often appeared in these forums, sharing his personal journey and encouraging open dialogue. One particularly memorable event was a Gut Health Festival in Austin, Texas, featuring talks, cooking demonstrations, and art installations celebrating the microbiome. The festival attracted thousands and fostered a vibrant community spirit. Through these efforts, Elon cultivated a vision of health as a shared, collective endeavor rather than a solitary pursuit. On the research front, the team explored the role of the microbiome in aging. Preliminary studies suggested that certain gut bacteria might influence longevity and cognitive function. This sparked excitement about developing interventions to promote healthy aging. Elon envisioned a future where people could maintain vitality well into their later years, supported by personalized microbiome management. However, challenges persisted. The complexity of microbiome interactions meant that results were often nuanced and sometimes contradictory. The team embraced this scientific uncertainty as part of the process, prioritizing transparency with users and the public. Elon often reminded his team, science is a journey, not a destination. At home, Elon's partnership with Ray grew stronger, grounded in shared purpose and mutual respect. Together, they navigated the pressures of leadership and innovation, finding solace in quiet moments and shared dreams. Elon's experience had taught him that technology alone was not enough, it was the human connections behind it that truly mattered. As the year progressed, Elon turned attention to global health crises. When a mysterious gastrointestinal illness spread rapidly in parts of Southeast Asia, GutLink data and AI models helped track and characterize the outbreak in real time. This enabled swift public health responses and informed treatment protocols, saving countless lives. The success reinforced the potential of microbiome technology to serve as an early warning system for emerging diseases. Inspired by this impact, Elon proposed expanding GutLink's role in global health surveillance. Collaborations with the World Health Organization and other agencies began, aiming to build an integrated network monitoring microbial health across populations. This vision promised to revolutionize epidemiology and pandemic preparedness. Yet, the scale of ambition brought new scrutiny. Critics warned of big data, overreach and potential misuse by governments or corporations. Elon engaged in open forums, advocating for transparent governance and ethical oversight. He believed that with careful stewardship, technology could be a force for good. As the GutLink community grew, so did stories of transformation. Users shared how understanding their microbiomes had changed relationships, diets, and self-perceptions. One young mother in Chicago credited GutLink with helping her manage postpartum depression through targeted nutrition and mindfulness. An elderly man in rural Vermont described regaining mobility and energy by addressing chronic inflammation revealed through his microbiome profile. These narratives underscored the deeply personal nature of health journeys and the power of technology to illuminate them. Near the end of the year, Elon launched a new initiative called GutLink Ambassadors, inviting passionate users to become advocates and educators in their communities. These ambassadors receive training and resources to lead workshops, support peers, and provide feedback to the company. The program fostered empowerment and grassroots connection, embodying Elon's vision of health as a shared human endeavor. Reflecting on the whirlwind of progress, setbacks, and lessons, Elon recognized that the story of GutLink was inseparable from the stories of millions who embraced it. It was a mosaic of science and spirit, technology and tenderness. As he prepared to share these reflections in a widely anticipated keynote, Elon felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey from a simple curiosity about stool samples to a transformative global movement had revealed one enduring truth, that within each of us lies a universe waiting to be understood, and that sometimes, the most profound discoveries come from looking inward, paying attention, and daring to ask, what if? The path forward was uncertain, but filled with hope. And Elon was ready to walk it, hand in hand with the world. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? The new year brought fresh challenges and unexpected opportunities for Elon and the GutLink team. The success of the GutLink Ambassadors program ignited a wave of community-driven innovation. Stories poured in from ambassadors who had created local support groups, translated the app into multiple languages, and integrated GutLink into schools and clinics in underserved areas. One ambassador in Detroit developed a pilot program combining GutLink data with urban farming initiatives, helping residents improve diet and gut health using locally grown produce. Inspired, Elon expanded the company's commitment to social impact, launching the GutLink Foundation to fund projects that combine technology, education, and community empowerment. Yet, the scientific frontier beckoned with greater complexity. New research revealed the profound influence of gut microbiomes on autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis and multiple sclerosis. Elon's team partnered with leading immunologists to develop predictive models and personalized interventions. Early clinical trials showed promise in reducing flare-ups and improving patient quality of life. The breakthrough brought hope to millions but also raised questions about accessibility and cost. Elon was determined to ensure that advances did not widen health disparities. He pushed for partnerships with nonprofit organizations and advocated for insurance coverage of microbiome-based therapies. Meanwhile, advances in machine learning enabled GutLink's AI to analyze complex microbial interactions with unprecedented accuracy. The device could now recommend personalized supplements, dietary plans, and lifestyle changes tailored to an individual's unique microbiome ecosystem. Users reported not just better digestion but improved energy, mood, and sleep, outcomes that blurred the line between gut health and overall well-being. However, with greater personalization came the challenge of information overload. Some users felt overwhelmed by the constant stream of data and recommendations. To address this, the team introduced smart summaries and virtual coaching features, helping users focus on actionable insights without anxiety. The balance between empowerment and overwhelm remained delicate. On a personal level, Elon faced a profound test. Ray was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disorder linked to gut dysbiosis. The news shook Elon to his core. Suddenly, the scientific and personal worlds collided in a way he hadn't anticipated. The GutLink technology became not just a tool but a lifeline. Together, Elon and Ray embarked on a rigorous regimen of data-driven interventions, clinical treatments, and lifestyle changes. The process was arduous, marked by setbacks and small victories. Through it all, Elon witnessed firsthand the emotional and physical toll of chronic illness, deepening his empathy and resolve. The experience reshaped company priorities, placing even greater emphasis on compassionate care and mental health support. In parallel, the global conversation around microbiome data and privacy evolved. Governments worldwide introduced new regulations aimed at protecting biometric information. Elon collaborated with international coalitions to help shape ethical frameworks that balanced innovation with human rights. His advocacy emphasized the importance of transparency, user control, and equitable access. At the same time, the GutLink team explored integration with other biometric systems, wearables tracking heart rate, sleep, and stress, to create a holistic health profile. This integration opened new possibilities for personalized medicine but also increased complexity in data management. Elon stressed that the user experience must remain simple and empowering, avoiding the pitfalls of technological overwhelm. The company's culture evolved to embrace these multidimensional challenges, fostering interdisciplinary collaboration among engineers, scientists, ethicists, and user experience designers. Amid these professional demands, Elon found renewed strength in his partnership with Ray. Their shared journey through illness and recovery forged a bond of vulnerability and trust. Together, they became advocates for patient-centered innovation, speaking at conferences and engaging with communities to raise awareness about autoimmune diseases and the power of microbiome science. As spring blossomed, GutLink launched a groundbreaking feature, a global microbiome map that allowed users to explore microbial diversity across regions and cultures. This interactive platform celebrated human biological variation and fostered cross-cultural understanding of health and diet. The project attracted artists, educators, and scientists, creating a vibrant ecosystem of knowledge and creativity. The global map also served a public health purpose, helping researchers track environmental impacts on microbiomes and disease patterns. Elon saw this as a profound example of technology connecting people, science, and culture. However, not all feedback was positive. Some critics argued that the focus on the microbiome risked overshadowing social determinants of health like poverty, access to care, and systemic inequities. Elon acknowledged these concerns openly, emphasizing that GutLink was one tool among many in the pursuit of health justice. He called for integrated approaches combining technology, policy, and community action. The dialogue expanded, enriching the company's vision and practices. Toward the end of the chapter, Elon reflected on the transformative power of curiosity, the simple act of paying attention to what comes out in your stool, which had launched a global movement. From that humble beginning, a story of science, empathy, and hope unfolded. It was a testament to human resilience and the profound connections between our bodies, our environment, and each other. Elon's journey was far from over, but he embraced the uncertainties and challenges ahead with courage and conviction. Because sometimes, the greatest discoveries start with the smallest questions. The momentum behind GutLink continued to build, but Elon understood that true transformation required more than technology, it demanded cultural change. He launched a bold initiative called Gut Revolution, aimed at shifting public attitudes toward gut health from taboo to everyday conversation. The campaign featured diverse voices, celebrities, scientists, everyday users, sharing candid stories about their digestive struggles and triumphs. Advertisements appeared on billboards, social media, and streaming platforms, breaking stigmas and inviting people to pay attention to their bodies. One viral video showed a well-known athlete discussing how GutLink helped improve her performance by optimizing nutrition and reducing inflammation. Schools incorporated gut health lessons into curricula, emphasizing the connection between food, microbes, and mental well-being. This cultural shift was critical to overcoming centuries of silence and misunderstanding about digestion and stool, topics once considered private or embarrassing. Elon believed that normalizing these conversations could empower individuals to seek care early and make informed choices. Behind the scenes, the Gut Revolution team collaborated with anthropologists and sociologists to understand cultural variations in gut health perceptions worldwide. This research informed tailored messaging strategies respectful of local traditions and beliefs. The company also sponsored art exhibits and community events celebrating the gut microbiome's role in human diversity and connection. These efforts fostered a sense of belonging and pride, transforming gut health from a private burden into a shared human story. Meanwhile, GutLink technology advanced with the integration of real-time microbiome editing capabilities. Using safe, targeted probiotics and gene editing techniques, users could not only monitor but actively shape their gut ecosystems. This breakthrough opened new frontiers in personalized medicine and wellness but also raised profound ethical questions about human enhancement and natural balance. Elon convened an international ethics board to explore these issues, emphasizing transparency, inclusivity, and caution. The debates echoed across scientific journals, conferences, and public forums, highlighting the societal implications of rewriting the microbiome. On the research front, a landmark study published in Nature demonstrated that gut microbes could influence decision-making and social behavior by modulating neurotransmitter levels. This discovery fascinated Elon and his team, suggesting that our inner ecosystems might shape not only health but personality and relationships. GutLink's AI algorithms began incorporating behavioral predictions, offering users insights into how gut health could impact mood, focus, and social dynamics. This new dimension of understanding deepened the user experience and opened possibilities for mental health interventions. Yet, the expanded capabilities also brought concerns about data misuse and psychological effects. Elon prioritized user education and mental health safeguards, working closely with psychologists to develop ethical guidelines and support resources. In the company's innovation lab, interdisciplinary teams explored next-generation wearables capable of sensing gut microbial metabolites through non-invasive breath analysis. This technology promised to enhance ease of use and provide even richer data streams. Prototype devices underwent rigorous testing, combining sleek design with robust functionality. Elon personally tested early versions, fascinated by the sensory connection between breath and gut health. These advances promise to further democratize access to microbiome insights. In the public sphere, Elon participated in high-profile dialogues on the future of health technology, emphasizing the need for human-centered design and global collaboration. He advocated for policies that balanced innovation with social justice, data privacy, and equitable access. His message resonated with a new generation of health entrepreneurs and activists, inspiring cross-sector partnerships. Despite the strides, Elon remained humble about the journey ahead. He often reflected on a conversation with Ray, who reminded him, "Technology can guide us, but it's our humanity that leads the way." This perspective grounded Elon in moments of doubt and challenge, reinforcing the importance of empathy and listening. As Gut Revolution gained traction, Elon witnessed inspiring stories of transformation. Communities once marginalized by healthcare disparities embraced the tools and knowledge to reclaim their health. Elders shared ancestral wisdom about fermented foods and natural remedies, blending tradition with cutting-edge science. Youth engaged in creative projects exploring microbiome themes through music, poetry, and visual arts. These vibrant expressions celebrated the interconnectedness of biology, culture, and identity. Toward the chapter's end, Elon announced plans for an annual GutLink Summit, bringing together users, scientists, artists, and policymakers to share discoveries, challenges, and visions. The inaugural event promised to be a landmark gathering, fostering dialogue and innovation. As Elon prepared for the summit, he felt a profound sense of gratitude and responsibility. The journey that began with curiosity about Stool had blossomed into a global movement redefining health, community, and the human experience. And as he looked ahead, Elon knew that the story was just beginning. The first GutLink Summit was unlike anything Elon had ever experienced. Thousands gathered from around the world, scientists, users, artists, advocates, and innovators, all united by a shared passion for understanding the microbiome and transforming health. The venue buzzed with energy as keynote speakers unveiled the latest breakthroughs, panels debated ethical questions, and workshops invited hands-on learning. Elon took the stage with a mix of excitement and humility. He recounted the journey from the earliest GutLink prototypes to a global community redefining wellness. His message was clear: this was not just a company or a technology, it was a movement powered by curiosity, compassion, and connection. One session that captivated the audience focused on the emotional power of storytelling in health. Users shared deeply personal narratives about their struggles and victories, reminding everyone that behind every data point was a human being with hopes and fears. The room grew quiet as a young woman from New Orleans spoke about how GutLink helped her regain control after years of digestive distress and depression. Her story brought tears and applause, illustrating the profound impact of empathy in healing. Meanwhile, scientific presentations showcased cutting-edge research on the microbiome's role in mental health, cancer therapies, and personalized nutrition. Elon was particularly inspired by a team developing a microbiome-based treatment for anxiety disorders. The potential to transform lives extended beyond physical health, reaching into the very fabric of human experience. Artists at the summit offered another dimension, using visual installations, music, and dance to explore the microbiome's invisible world. One installation transformed a darkened room into an immersive journey through microbial ecosystems, blending soundscapes and projected imagery. Attendees described the experience as both humbling and awe-inspiring, a vivid reminder of the interconnectedness of life. The summit also tackled difficult conversations. Panels addressed privacy concerns, health equity, and the risk of commercial exploitation. Elon listened carefully, acknowledging the need for vigilance and ethical leadership. He committed GutLink to ongoing transparency and collaboration with regulators, communities, and users. A highlight of the event was the announcement of the GutLink Global Research Fund, aimed at supporting innovative projects that bridged science, technology, and social impact. Grants were awarded to initiatives ranging from microbiome education in refugee camps to studies of traditional diets and microbial diversity. Elon's vision of a microbiome movement rooted in justice and inclusion began to take concrete shape. As the summit closed, Elon reflected on the power of community. The energy in the room was a testament to what could be achieved when people came together around shared values and curiosity. He realized that the GutLink journey was not just about science or technology, but about fostering connection and hope in a world often divided by fear and uncertainty. After the summit, the GutLink team focused on scaling their impact. They enhanced multilingual support, expanded partnerships with healthcare providers, and integrated new AI-driven features to tailor recommendations more precisely. User feedback was more positive than ever, with many reporting improvements not only in gut health but in overall quality of life. The company's culture evolved as well, embracing diversity, inclusion, and a commitment to social responsibility. Elon and Ray remained at the heart of this evolution, balancing visionary leadership with grounded empathy. Their relationship, tested through challenges and strengthened by shared purpose, became a source of inspiration for the whole team. On a personal note, Elon found new joy in simple pleasures, gardening with Ray, cooking meals inspired by global microbiome traditions, and spending quiet mornings reflecting on progress and possibilities. These moments reminded him that innovation was ultimately about enhancing the human experience. In the broader world, GutLink's influence continued to grow. Governments began integrating microbiome data into public health planning, and educational systems incorporated gut health into science curricula. The stigma around stool and digestion faded, replaced by curiosity and respect. This cultural transformation had ripple effects on food systems, wellness industries, and even environmental policies. Looking ahead, Elon and the GutLink team prepared for the next frontier, integrating microbiome insights with genomics, metabolomics, and other omics technologies to create a truly holistic understanding of health. This ambitious vision promised personalized prevention and treatment strategies that could transform medicine. As Elon reviewed the year's achievements and challenges, he remained mindful of the journey's unpredictability. Science was never linear, and human health was infinitely complex. Yet, the combination of technology, community, and empathy gave him confidence that the future held extraordinary possibilities. The story that began with a simple question, "What comes out in your stool?" had become a catalyst for global change. And Elon was ready to continue leading the way. Elon felt a surge of excitement as GutLink expanded into new realms, particularly the integration of genomics and metabolomics. By combining these data layers with microbiome profiles, the team was on the cusp of creating a comprehensive health map unique to each individual. This holistic approach promised unprecedented precision in predicting disease risks, personalizing nutrition, and optimizing wellness strategies. The vision was to empower users not just with information, but with actionable insights that fit seamlessly into their lives. However, such complex data integration brought new challenges. The sheer volume of information risked overwhelming users, and interpreting it required sophisticated algorithms and expert oversight. To address this, GutLink developed an AI-driven virtual health coach named Mira, designed to provide personalized guidance, answer questions, and adapt recommendations based on user preferences and feedback. Mira's empathetic interface and natural language processing made interactions feel conversational and supportive rather than clinical or intimidating. Early user testing showed promising engagement, especially among those new to microbiome science. Mira also helped identify mental health concerns related to gut-brain interactions, offering resources and referrals when needed. This focus on mental and emotional well-being reflected Elon's belief that health was multidimensional and deeply interconnected. Behind the scenes, the research teams accelerated efforts to understand the microbiome's role in chronic conditions such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and neurodegenerative disorders. Preliminary findings suggested that targeted microbiome modulation could complement existing treatments and potentially reduce medication dependence. These developments excited clinicians and patients alike but required rigorous clinical trials and regulatory approval. Elon prioritized transparent communication about the state of the science, emphasizing the importance of evidence-based innovation. Meanwhile, global partnerships flourished. Collaborations with universities, hospitals, and public health organizations created a robust ecosystem for research and education. One groundbreaking project focused on mapping the microbiomes of indigenous populations, preserving valuable knowledge about traditional diets and lifestyles while respecting cultural sensitivities and data sovereignty. Elon saw this as an essential step toward inclusivity and honoring diverse health narratives. At the same time, the commercial landscape around microbiome technology became increasingly competitive. New startups and established companies launched similar products and services, driving innovation but also fragmenting the market. Elon remained focused on GutLink's core values, user empowerment, privacy, and social impact, believing that trust and community would sustain the company's leadership. On a personal level, Elon and Ray's journey continued to intertwine with GutLink's evolution. Ray's health showed improvement through personalized interventions, but the experience deepened their understanding of chronic illnesses' complexity. Together, they became advocates for patient voices in research and development, ensuring that technology met real human needs. Their shared story resonated widely, inspiring others facing similar challenges. As the company scaled, Elon maintained a hands-on leadership style, regularly engaging with users through virtual town halls and social media. These interactions grounded him in the lived realities behind the data and fueled his passion for creating meaningful change. He often said, "Technology is only as powerful as the people it serves." The broader public conversation about health and technology also shifted. Policymakers debated how to regulate emerging microbiome therapies, balancing innovation with safety and ethical considerations. Elon actively participated in these discussions, advocating for frameworks that protected individual rights without stifling progress. He emphasized global cooperation and equitable access, especially for marginalized communities. The societal implications of microbiome science were vast, touching on economics, education, and ethics. GutLink's educational programs expanded to reach diverse audiences, from schoolchildren to seniors. Interactive apps, community workshops, and multilingual resources made microbiome science accessible and relevant. Stories of transformation multiplied, illustrating the power of knowledge combined with technology. Users described renewed energy, better moods, and deeper connections with their bodies and communities. Yet, Elon remained vigilant about potential pitfalls. The risk of biological determinism, the idea that microbiome profiles could define or limit people, was a concern. He championed narratives of agency, emphasizing that microbiomes were dynamic and responsive to lifestyle, environment, and choice. Empowerment, not fatalism, was the goal. As the chapter drew to a close, Elon reflected on the profound journey from a simple question about stool to a multidimensional exploration of health and humanity. The science was complex, the challenges immense, but the potential to improve lives was undeniable. Elon's vision was clear: a world where technology, empathy, and community converge to unlock the mysteries within and help people live healthier, fuller lives. The future beckoned with promise, and Elon was ready to lead the way. With GutLink's growth accelerating, Elon recognized that the next frontier was not just about data or technology but about deepening human connection and trust. To that end, he spearheaded the development of GutLink circles, local, in-person communities designed to complement the digital experience. These circles brought people together to share stories, support each other's health journeys, and learn directly from experts. The idea was simple yet profound: healing is not only biological but social. Early pilot groups sprang up in cities like Austin, Portland, and Atlanta, attracting diverse participants ranging from young adults managing stress-related gut issues to seniors seeking preventive care. The gatherings were informal but impactful, often featuring guest speakers, cooking demos, and mindfulness exercises aimed at nurturing both gut and emotional well-being. Elon attended several events himself, listening intently and sharing his own story, which helped break down barriers and reduce stigma around digestive health. The sense of community fostered through circles deepened users' commitment to their health and to each other. Many reported feeling less isolated and more motivated to maintain positive lifestyle changes. This grassroots approach complemented the sophisticated technology of GutLink, balancing high-tech precision with high-touch empathy. Meanwhile, the GutLink research team explored the microbiome's role in aging. Studies suggested that microbial diversity correlated with longevity and resilience. By analyzing data from elder users, the team identified key microbial markers linked to healthy aging. These insights opened possibilities for interventions that could support vitality and cognitive function in later life. Elon was particularly inspired by stories of elders in rural communities who integrated GutLink insights with traditional wellness practices. These narratives reinforced his belief that the future of health innovation lay in blending science with culture and lived experience. On the technological front, the GutLink app evolved to include immersive experiences using augmented reality, AR. Users could visualize their gut microbiome as interactive 3D ecosystems, making abstract data tangible and engaging. This feature proved especially popular among younger users and educators, sparking curiosity and deeper understanding. The AR experience invited users to explore how different foods, habits, and environments influence their internal microbial world. This gamified approach encouraged experimentation and learning in a fun, supportive context. However, with greater immersion came new challenges. Some users reported feeling anxious or overwhelmed by visualizing their microbiome's fluctuations. Elon's team responded by adding customizable settings, guided meditations, and prompts to foster a balanced and positive mindset. The goal was to empower without overwhelming, fostering curiosity alongside compassion. On the policy front, Elon intensified efforts to address health disparities. Partnering with non-profit organizations and local governments, GutLink launched initiatives targeting food deserts and underserved communities. Mobile GutLink units brought testing and education directly to neighborhoods lacking healthcare infrastructure. These efforts aimed to democratize access to microbiome science and health resources, challenging systemic inequities. The work was difficult but deeply rewarding, underscoring the social responsibility embedded in GutLink's mission. Elon often said that technology without equity was meaningless. As GutLink's social impact grew, so did its cultural influence. Artists, writers, and filmmakers engaged with the microbiome theme, producing works that explored identity, connection, and transformation. GutLink sponsored festivals and grants to support these creative endeavors, fostering a rich dialogue between science and art. Elon found inspiration in this cross-pollination, seeing it as a vital part of humanity's evolving relationship with health and the body. Meanwhile, Elon and Ray continued their personal journey with gut health. Ray's condition stabilized through personalized regimens, but new challenges emerged as they navigated the complexities of chronic illness together. Their shared experiences deepened their bond and sharpened Elon's empathy and leadership. They became vocal advocates for patient-centered care and the importance of listening to lived experience. The story of their journey resonated widely, offering hope and validation to many. Toward the chapter's close, Elon contemplated the larger meaning of the gut link movement. What began with curiosity about Stool had evolved into a multifaceted exploration of health, identity, and community. The journey illuminated the intricate dance between biology and culture, technology and empathy, individual and collective. Elon realized that the true power of gut link lay not just in data or devices, but in the connections it fostered, between people, ideas, and hope. As he looked ahead, Elon felt both humbled and energized. The path forward was uncertain but filled with promise. The question that started it all, what comes out in your stool, had blossomed into a doorway to transformation. And Elon was ready to keep walking through it. Elon's vision for gut link was evolving beyond individual health to embrace planetary well-being. He saw the gut microbiome as a mirror reflecting not only personal habits but also environmental health. With this insight, GutLink launched EcoGut, a groundbreaking initiative connecting personal microbiome data with environmental factors such as pollution, diet sustainability, and community ecosystems. EcoGut aimed to empower users to make choices that benefited both their health and the planet. The project partnered with environmental scientists and urban planners to map microbiome diversity alongside air and soil quality, food availability, and green spaces. This holistic approach revealed striking correlations between environmental degradation and microbiome imbalances linked to chronic diseases. Elon believed that addressing these systemic issues was crucial for long-term health and resilience. In cities like Chicago and San Francisco, EcoGut pilots engaged local communities through citizen science programs. Participants contributed data, shared stories, and collaborated on urban gardening, waste reduction, and sustainable eating campaigns. These efforts fostered a sense of stewardship and collective responsibility. Elon often emphasized, our bodies are ecosystems within ecosystems. Healing one requires healing the other. Meanwhile, GutLink's AI continued to advance, now capable of integrating environmental metrics with individual microbiome profiles to offer tailored recommendations. For example, users living in polluted areas received guidance on detoxifying foods and stress reduction, while those with limited access to fresh produce were connected with community resources. This personalized environmental awareness was a new frontier in health technology. On the research front, GutLink partnered with leading universities to study microbiome resilience in the face of climate change. Early findings suggested that microbial diversity could buffer against environmental stressors, offering clues to improving public health strategies amid growing ecological challenges. Elon found these discoveries both urgent and hopeful. At the same time, GutLink faced growing scrutiny from skeptics who questioned the technology's promises and raised privacy concerns. Elon responded with transparency, inviting independent audits and publishing comprehensive data security policies. He engaged directly with critics in public forums, emphasizing that trust was foundational to innovation. These dialogues, though challenging, strengthened the company's commitment to ethical leadership. In parallel, the cultural impact of microbiome awareness deepened. Documentaries, novels, and podcasts explored themes of interconnection, microbial identity, and environmental justice. GutLink supported these creative voices, recognizing their power to inspire change beyond scientific circles. Elon attended a screening of a film tracing the journeys of diverse individuals using GutLink to reclaim health and community. The stories underscored the universality of the microbiome experience and its potential to bridge divides. On the personal front, Elon and Ray expanded their advocacy, speaking at global health conferences and collaborating with policymakers to integrate microbiome science into public health frameworks. Their partnership symbolized the merging of personal experience and public impact, grounded in compassion and hope. As the chapter closed, Elon reflected on the evolving nature of health itself, not just absence of disease, but harmony between body, community, and environment. The simple question that sparked his journey, "What comes out in your stool?" had become a profound inquiry into how we live, relate, and sustain one another. With humility and resolve, Elon looked ahead to the challenges and possibilities awaiting GutLink and the global community it served. The story was far from over. It was a living, breathing journey of discovery and connection. As GutLink's influence spread, Elon faced an unexpected challenge that tested everything the company had built. A cyber attack targeted the company's database, threatening to expose sensitive user data and disrupt operations. The breach shook the community's trust and placed immense pressure on Elon and his team to respond swiftly and transparently. Immediately, GutLink's cybersecurity experts mobilized to contain the attack, patch vulnerabilities, and secure systems. Elon held emergency meetings, keeping the team focused and motivated despite the mounting stress. In public statements, he acknowledged the breach openly, apologizing to users and promising rigorous safeguards moving forward. The crisis underscored the fragile balance between innovation and security in digital health. GutLink launched a comprehensive audit with independent oversight and accelerated investment in state-of-the-art encryption and data protection. Elon also convened a global panel of experts to develop industry-wide standards for microbiome data security, recognizing that no company could tackle these challenges alone. The breach sparked intense conversations about privacy, data ownership, and the ethics of health technology. Elon embraced these debates, viewing them as opportunities for growth and accountability. He emphasized that user trust was paramount and that GutLink's mission extended beyond profit to stewardship of deeply personal information. Amid the turmoil, the community rallied. Users expressed support and gratitude for GutLink's transparency, sharing stories of how the technology had transformed their lives. This collective resilience reinforced Elon's conviction that the movement was bigger than any setback. Internally, the crisis prompted cultural shifts. The team prioritized security awareness and cross-disciplinary collaboration. Elon fostered an environment where concerns could be raised openly, and solutions developed collaboratively. These changes strengthened the company's foundation. Meanwhile, the scientific work continued unabated. GutLink's research teams pushed forward with clinical trials exploring microbiome-based interventions for autoimmune diseases and depression. Early results showed promise, suggesting new pathways for treatment that integrated gut and brain health. These advances energized the team and reaffirmed the potential to revolutionize medicine. The crisis also inspired innovation in user control over data. GutLink developed enhanced privacy settings allowing users to customize data sharing preferences, with clear explanations and easy-to-use interfaces. This empowerment aligned with the company's ethos of transparency and respect. Elon and Ray's story remained a beacon for many. They shared candid reflections on navigating uncertainty and vulnerability, highlighting the importance of trust, communication, and compassion in health journeys. Their openness helped destigmatize challenges and foster connection. As the chapter concluded, Elon saw the breach not only as a test but as a turning point. It catalyzed deeper commitments to security, ethics, and community engagement. The GutLink movement emerged stronger, more resilient, and more united in its purpose. The question that launched the journey, "What comes out in your stool?" now carried new weight as a symbol of transparency, trust, and shared humanity. Elon was ready to lead through complexity, guided by values that transcended technology. In the wake of the cyber attack, Elon doubled down on GutLink's mission to bridge the gap between technology and humanity. He realized that data and algorithms, while powerful, could never replace genuine human connection. To embody this belief, he launched the GutLink Ambassadors program, recruiting passionate users from diverse backgrounds to share their stories, educate others, and foster supportive communities worldwide. These ambassadors became the human face of GutLink, traveling to schools, clinics, and community centers to demystify the microbiome and encourage proactive health management. Elon himself participated in many events, energized by the direct engagement and the profound impact of storytelling. One ambassador, Maria, a schoolteacher from Ohio, shared how GutLink helped her manage irritable bowel syndrome and anxiety, inspiring her students to take an active interest in their health. Another, Jamal from Detroit, used GutLink insights to advocate for better food access in underserved neighborhoods. Their stories highlighted the ripple effects of knowledge and empowerment. At the same time, GutLink invested in developing multilingual educational content to reach global audiences. Recognizing that microbiome health was a universal concern, the company prioritized cultural sensitivity and accessibility. Collaborations with local health workers and translators enriched the program, creating a tapestry of diverse voices and experiences. Back at headquarters, the science team continued pushing boundaries. They launched a longitudinal study tracking microbiome changes over decades, aiming to unravel how early life exposures, diet, and environment influenced lifelong health trajectories. Elon saw this research as foundational for preventive medicine and personalized care. The study attracted participants worldwide, fostering a global health community united by curiosity and hope. Technology advanced as well, with GutLink integrating wearable biosensors that monitored stress, sleep, and physical activity alongside microbiome data. This multimodal approach allowed for richer insights and more precise recommendations. Mira, the AI health coach, became more intuitive, offering real-time adjustments and emotional support. Users reported feeling truly understood and cared for. As GutLink's footprint expanded, ethical considerations deepened. Elon convened an ethics advisory board comprising scientists, ethicists, patients, and community leaders to guide policy and practice. The board addressed questions of consent, data use, equity, and potential unintended consequences. Their work ensured that innovation proceeded with respect for human dignity and social justice. On a personal front, Elon and Ray faced new challenges as Ray's condition fluctuated. The experience underscored the unpredictability of chronic illness and the need for compassion and flexibility in care. Their openness about struggles and resilience inspired many, reinforcing GutLink's commitment to holistic health. Culturally, microbiome awareness blossomed. Art exhibitions, literature, and films explored themes of inner ecosystems, identity, and healing. GutLink supported these endeavors, recognizing the power of narrative to shape perception and inspire change. Elon found these creative expressions both moving and motivating. As the chapter closed, Elon reflected on the profound interconnectedness revealed by the microbiome journey. From individual cells to global communities, health was a shared responsibility and a collective gift. The simple question, "What comes out in your stool?" had sparked a revolution in understanding, empathy, and possibility. Elon felt ready to face the future, guided by the lessons of the past and the hope of what was yet to come. Elon's vision for GutLink began to embrace the next ambitious step, integrating microbiome insights into global public health initiatives. Recognizing that many chronic illnesses stem from systemic issues like poor nutrition, pollution, and social inequality, he aimed to create scalable solutions that could benefit entire populations, not just individuals. To this end, GutLink partnered with international organizations including the WHO and UNICEF to pilot community-based microbiome programs in vulnerable regions across Africa, Asia, and Latin America. These initiatives combined stool testing with education, nutrition support, and infrastructure improvements such as clean water access. Early results demonstrated measurable improvements in children's growth, immune function, and cognitive development, confirming the microbiome's pivotal role in global health. Elon was deeply moved by these outcomes and traveled to several sites to witness the impact firsthand. These visits reaffirmed his commitment to equity and social justice, motivating him to advocate for policies that addressed the root causes of health disparities. Technology played a crucial role in scaling these efforts. GutLink developed low-cost, portable testing kits that local health workers could use in remote areas, coupled with offline data analysis tools. These innovations democratized access to microbiome science and empowered communities to take ownership of their health. Additionally, the GutLink app incorporated culturally relevant content and languages, ensuring inclusivity. Despite these successes, Elon was aware of potential pitfalls. He emphasized the importance of community engagement, informed consent, and respect for local traditions. GutLink worked closely with anthropologists and sociologists to navigate cultural nuances and build trust. Elon understood that sustainable change required more than technology, it demanded partnership and humility. Concurrently, GutLink explored the microbiome's influence on mental health at a population level. Collaborating with neuroscientists and psychiatrists, the company launched studies examining how microbial diversity correlated with depression, anxiety, and resilience in different cultural contexts. These findings could transform mental health care by integrating biological, psychological, and social dimensions. Elon was fascinated by the emerging evidence that nurturing the gut could nurture the mind, and vice versa. On the corporate front, GutLink faced increasing competition as more players entered the microbiome space. Elon responded by doubling down on innovation and transparency. He championed open science initiatives, sharing anonymized datasets and encouraging collaboration across academia and industry. He believed that accelerating discovery required breaking down silos rather than guarding secrets. This ethos fostered goodwill and positioned GutLink as a trusted leader. At home, Elon and Ray found joy in simple moments, embracing balance amid busy lives. They practiced mindful eating, meditation, and nature walks, embodying the principles GutLink advocated. Their relationship deepened, rooted in mutual support and shared purpose. Elon often reflected that personal well-being and global health were inseparable threads in the tapestry of life. As the chapter closed, Elon contemplated the vast potential of microbiome science to reshape how humanity approached health and healing. The journey that began with a simple question about stool had become a catalyst for systemic transformation. Elon felt hopeful and humbled, ready to guide GutLink through the complexities ahead with wisdom, compassion, and relentless curiosity. As GutLink continued to expand, Elon encountered an unforeseen challenge within the very heart of the company: burnout. The rapid pace of innovation, public scrutiny, and high stakes weighed heavily on the team. Elon, who had always pushed relentlessly, realized the toll this pressure was taking not only on himself but on everyone around him. Recognizing that sustainable progress required sustainable people, he initiated a company-wide wellness overhaul focused on mental health, work-life balance, and creative rejuvenation. This included flexible schedules, mindfulness workshops, and the creation of quiet spaces designed to inspire reflection and reduce stress. Elon also led by example, openly discussing his own struggles with anxiety and the importance of self-care. These moves fostered a culture of openness and resilience, transforming GutLink from a high-pressure startup into a supportive community. The wellness initiative had a ripple effect, improving productivity, creativity, and team cohesion. It became clear that caring for the caretakers was essential for fulfilling GutLink's mission. Concurrently, Elon sought to deepen GutLink's scientific foundation by investing in interdisciplinary research that bridged microbiology, psychology, nutrition, and environmental science. He believed that true innovation emerged from the intersections of knowledge and welcomed diverse perspectives. To this end, GutLink established the Integrative Health Institute, a think tank and research hub attracting top minds worldwide. The institute hosted conferences, published groundbreaking studies, and fostered collaborations that pushed the boundaries of what was possible in health science. Elon's vision was to create a fertile ground where ideas could cross-pollinate and spark new paradigms. In the public arena, GutLink's educational outreach intensified. Elon partnered with schools, libraries, and media outlets to bring microbiome literacy to broader audiences. Interactive curricula, documentaries, and social media campaigns demystified the science and empowered individuals to take proactive steps. This grassroots education movement helped normalize conversations about gut health and reduced stigma around digestive issues. Elon's own story remained central, serving as a relatable and inspiring touchstone. Meanwhile, advances in personalized medicine flourished. GutLink's AI, Mira, evolved to become a holistic life coach, integrating microbiome data with genetic, metabolic, and lifestyle information. Users received tailored guidance that adapted dynamically to changing circumstances, fostering sustained behavior change and improved outcomes. The technology blurred the lines between science and art, combining data with empathy. On a global scale, Elon continued to advocate for equitable access and ethical innovation. He spoke at international forums, urging policymakers to support inclusive health technologies and protect user rights. GutLink's collaborations with NGOs and governments expanded, demonstrating scalable models for integrating microbiome insights into public health systems. The company's commitment to transparency and social responsibility set a new standard in the industry. On a personal note, Elon and Ray faced bittersweet moments. Ray's condition remained unpredictable, with good days and setbacks. Their partnership deepened through vulnerability, patience, and shared hope. They became advocates for chronic illness awareness and compassionate care, reminding the world that healing was a journey, not a destination. As the chapter closed, Elon reflected on the intertwined nature of innovation and humanity. GutLink's evolution was not just a technological triumph but a testament to resilience, empathy, and collective wisdom. The question that sparked it all, what comes out in your stool, had transformed into a profound inquiry into life, connection, and transformation. Elon felt ready to navigate the unknown, guided by values that transcended science and technology. As GutLink's reach grew globally, Elon began to confront a new dimension of complexity, the intersection of microbiome science with cultural beliefs and traditions. Around the world, gut health was understood and approached in vastly different ways, rooted in centuries of wisdom and local practices. Elon saw a unique opportunity to build bridges between modern science and traditional healing, fostering a dialogue that honored diverse perspectives while advancing health outcomes. GutLink launched a cultural microbiome initiative, collaborating with indigenous healers, herbalists, and community elders to explore how microbiome health aligned with ancient knowledge. These partnerships enriched the company's understanding and inspired innovative approaches integrating probiotics with traditional foods, rituals, and holistic therapies. In the Amazon, for example, GutLink researchers worked with tribes who used fermented foods and plant medicines to maintain digestive balance. The synergy between their ancestral wisdom and cutting-edge microbiome analysis opened new pathways for research and treatment. Elon was deeply humbled by these exchanges, recognizing that the future of health required respect for the past. At the same time, GutLink developed educational programs that celebrated cultural diversity and promoted inclusivity. Materials were tailored to honor local languages, customs, and values, making microbiome science accessible without erasing identity. Community leaders became ambassadors, reinforcing trust and relevance. This culturally sensitive approach set GutLink apart in the health tech landscape. Meanwhile, technological advances continued. GutLink introduced AI-driven diet personalization that incorporated cultural dietary patterns, preferences, and restrictions. Users received meal plans and supplement recommendations that resonated with their heritage, improving adherence and satisfaction. The company's database expanded to include global food microbiomes, enriching predictive accuracy. On the research front, GutLink published landmark studies demonstrating the microbiome's role in mediating the effects of cultural diets on health outcomes such as diabetes, autoimmune diseases, and mental well-being. These findings sparked a paradigm shift, challenging one-size-fits-all dietary advice and emphasizing the power of personalized, culturally grounded nutrition. Elon and Ray hosted global forums bringing together scientists, cultural leaders, and policymakers to share insights and co-create strategies for integrative health. These gatherings fostered collaboration and mutual learning, building a worldwide network committed to holistic well-being. On a personal note, Elon's appreciation for cultural diversity deepened his own worldview and leadership style. He encouraged GutLink's team to embrace curiosity and humility, recognizing that innovation thrived in the fertile ground of open-mindedness. The journey was not without challenges. Balancing scientific rigor with respect for tradition required sensitivity and dialogue. Yet, these efforts expanded GutLink's impact beyond technology to nurture relationships and community. As the chapter closed, Elon reflected on the profound lesson that health was a shared human heritage, woven from countless stories, beliefs, and practices. The question that ignited his journey, "What comes out in your stool?" had blossomed into a global conversation about identity, respect, and the future of healing. Elon felt inspired and committed to guiding GutLink as a bridge between worlds, a catalyst for connection, and a force for inclusive transformation. Elon's journey with GutLink took an unexpected turn when he encountered a personal health crisis that forced him to confront his own vulnerabilities. Despite his relentless dedication to advancing microbiome science and public health, Elon realized that no technology or data could fully prepare him for the emotional and physical challenges of chronic illness. After a sudden onset of debilitating symptoms, Elon underwent a battery of tests that revealed a complex autoimmune condition linked to his gut microbiome imbalance. This revelation was both shocking and humbling, forcing him to shift from visionary leader to patient navigating uncertainty. The experience deepened Elon's empathy for those who faced invisible illnesses and the frustrations of navigating healthcare systems. He documented his journey candidly, sharing the highs and lows with the GutLink community through blogs and videos. His vulnerability resonated widely, humanizing the science and inspiring others to speak openly about their health struggles. Guided by his own data and expert care, Elon embarked on a personalized treatment plan combining diet, probiotics, stress management, and lifestyle changes. He leaned heavily on Mira, GutLink's AI coach, for support and guidance. The process was non-linear, marked by progress and setbacks, testing his resilience and patience. Throughout, Ray stood steadfastly by his side, their partnership a source of strength and hope. This personal ordeal also spurred innovation at GutLink. Elon challenged his team to develop more advanced diagnostics and predictive models to better understand autoimmune triggers and tailor interventions. He pushed for integrating patient-reported outcomes with microbiome analytics, aiming to bridge the gap between data and lived experience. These efforts led to breakthroughs that improved care not only for Elon but for countless others. The experience reshaped Elon's perspective on leadership and success. He embraced vulnerability as a source of connection rather than weakness, advocating for a more compassionate and patient-centered approach to health technology. His story became a powerful testament to the human dimension behind the algorithms and devices. Public response was overwhelming. Communities rallied, sharing their own stories and creating networks of support. GutLink facilitated virtual forums where patients and caregivers exchanged insights and encouragement. Elon's transparency helped dismantle stigma and fostered a culture of openness. As the chapter closed, Elon reflected on the profound lesson that health was not a destination but a dynamic journey filled with uncertainty and growth. The question that launched the GutLink movement, "What comes out in your stool?" had evolved into a deeper inquiry about resilience, compassion, and the shared human experience. Elon felt more connected than ever to the community he helped build, ready to face the future with renewed humility and determination. After months of personal trials and scientific breakthroughs, Elon found himself at a crossroads. GutLink had grown into a powerful movement with the potential to redefine health, yet the question remained: how to sustain this momentum and embed microbiome science into the fabric of everyday life. Elon realized that true transformation required systemic change, beyond individual users and even beyond healthcare systems. It demanded cultural shifts, educational reform, and policy innovation. To this end, Elon launched the GutLink Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to advancing microbiome literacy and equitable health access worldwide. The foundation partnered with schools to integrate gut health education into curricula, empowering young people to become proactive stewards of their well-being from an early age. Additionally, the foundation supported community gardens, nutrition programs, and local initiatives that promoted gut-friendly lifestyles. This holistic approach addressed social determinants of health and built resilience at the grassroots level. Policy advocacy became another cornerstone. Elon engaged with lawmakers to promote regulations that protected microbiome data privacy, incentivized preventive care, and supported research funding. He testified before Congress and spoke at global health summits, using his platform to elevate the importance of gut health in public discourse. These efforts helped shift health policy paradigms toward prevention and personalized care. Meanwhile, GutLink's technology continued to evolve. The company introduced immersive virtual reality experiences that guided users through their own microbiome ecosystems, fostering deeper understanding and engagement. Gamification elements encouraged healthy habits, creating fun and sustainable behavior change. Elon's vision was to make gut health not just a medical concern but a cultural phenomenon embraced by all ages. The Foundation's work revealed stories of transformation: children overcoming allergies, communities reversing diabetes trends, elders reclaiming vitality. These narratives inspired renewed commitment and hope. Elon often reflected on the interconnectedness of science, policy, and culture in shaping health futures. On a personal level, Elon and Ray celebrated milestones, cherishing moments of joy amid ongoing challenges. Their journey embodied the complexity and beauty of life, marked by love, sacrifice, and growth. As the chapter closed, Elon shared a powerful message with the world: health was a collective journey shaped by choices, relationships, and values. The question that ignited the GutLink revolution, "What comes out in your stool?" was now a metaphor for transparency, connection, and possibility. Elon felt a deep sense of fulfillment and readiness to pass the torch to the next generation of innovators and caregivers. The journey that began with a simple question, "What comes out in your stool?" had blossomed into a global movement transforming health, science, and society. Elon stood at the helm of GutLink, reflecting on the incredible arc of progress, struggle, and discovery that had defined the past years. The story was more than a technological revolution, it was a profound human awakening to the power within our own bodies and the connections that bind us all. In this final chapter, Elon embraced the full spectrum of lessons learned, from personal vulnerability and scientific rigor to cultural humility and social responsibility. He understood that health was not a fixed destination but a dynamic, evolving process shaped by genetics, environment, behavior, and community. GutLink's vision had expanded beyond microbiome analysis to encompass a holistic view of wellness, emphasizing prevention, empathy, and equity. Elon's leadership had shifted from command to stewardship, nurturing a diverse ecosystem of innovators, patients, and advocates united by shared purpose. The company's future rested on collaboration and continuous learning. Elon also reflected deeply on love, family, and sacrifice, the intimate threads that gave meaning to his work. Ray's unwavering support and partnership through their shared health challenges had been a source of strength and inspiration. Their journey illuminated the complex interplay between personal well-being and societal progress, reminding Elon that technology must serve humanity, not the other way around. As GutLink's impact rippled worldwide, Elon celebrated the countless lives touched and transformed. From children in remote villages to urban elders, individuals had reclaimed agency over their health through knowledge and community. These stories fueled a collective hope for a future where health disparities were diminished and human potential was fully realized. Yet Elon also acknowledged the ongoing challenges, ethical dilemmas, data privacy concerns, and the ever-present risk of over-reliance on technology. He reaffirmed GutLink's commitment to transparency, consent, and inclusive innovation, recognizing that the journey toward health equity was lifelong and evolving. In closing, Elon addressed the audience directly, inviting them to continue the journey with curiosity, courage, and compassion. Life is full of surprises, but love and knowledge will always lead the way. What comes out in your stool is more than biology, it's a story waiting to be told, a path toward healing, and a testament to our shared humanity. He encouraged readers to embrace their own health stories, connect with their communities, and become advocates for a better, more compassionate world. The final words echoed the opening hook, now infused with wisdom and hope. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon smiled, knowing that the revolution had only just begun. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?